Welcome to Jazz Therapy, where we explore depth psychology, spirituality, and jazz. We talk with people on their path of individuation, Carl Jung's concept of becoming authentically who you are meant to be. Individuation is the process of how we integrate the unconscious and conscious aspects of our psyche. It's not about becoming perfect, but about becoming complete. Then we take inspiration and listen to jazz, reflecting on what thoughts, emotions, and reveries arise, helping us to know ourselves in a deeper way as we walk the path together. Sacramento, California-based jazz vocalist Vivian Lee specializes in the standards: Gershwin, Ellington, Jobim, with some Brubeck, Hubbard, Monk, and Gillespie thrown in too. Taking some of the great classic instrumental works, she has written lyrics to make them uniquely hers. She can swing with the boys in the band and make your heart melt with a lyric in a ballad. In July 2014, the Black Music Association of America, Sacramento chapter, included Miss Lee into the Music Hall of Fame as a music icon in Sacramento. They selected her as Jazz Vocalist of the Year for 2014. She has also been voted Jazz Artist of the Year in past Sacramento Magazine's annual Best of editions. With her stellar band, which includes Brendan Lowe on piano, Bootsa Nachek on bass, and Jeff Miniweather on drums, this Sammy Award-winning vocalist's unique style, phrasing, and magical stage presence will captivate the audience and take them on a wonderful musical journey.
Everything I do, I choose very, very carefully, because if I don't like it, I can't make you like it. Carmen McRae. And if Billie Holiday had never existed, I probably wouldn't have either. Also, Carmen McRae. And with these quotes, we welcome Miss Vivian Lee, acclaimed jazz singer, to the show. And Vivian, I'm so honored and delighted to have you on today. And you are the one that suggested Carmen McRae, which was just absolutely the best idea, because I have done such a deep dive into her body of work and understanding her. And just even hearing these two quotes, which I feel like really embody her in a lot of ways. I'm curious just what comes up when you hear her words about just choosing things very carefully, the power of intention, and then Billie.
The first one, yes, I totally agree with that, because that's how I am. And sometimes it's not necessarily choosing carefully. It's something hitting you, and you're like, yeah, that right there. I have a little story to tell. So several years ago, I can't remember exactly what year it was, Jim Martinez, who's a renowned piano player here in Sacramento and has traveled all over the world. He did a series of concerts at his home, and every week it was 3 vocalists, and it was 2 days, like Monday and Tuesday. We would be that week, and then it was another set of vocalists another week. So one week it was a local vocalist here in town named Francesca Bowman. She was with another 2 other singers. So she did this song called "Don't Say a Word," and the song is beautiful. It's a song that was sung by Flora Purim. So she's singing this song, and the lyrics are absolutely beautiful about spending time with your love, and you're telling him, I got this. Don't say a word. And at the end of the song, the lyrics are, "Don't say a word," and the music plays, and then the singer does this. I lost my mind. I just, words, and then that little shush at the end, I lost my mind. I was like, oh my God, I have to have this song. So I downloaded it and sent it to someone that I know that will write charts for me. And he wrote me a chart, and it's become one of my songs. And the lyrics are just so profound. And if you listen to them, the picture comes in your mind of spending that time with your lover. And so, yes, I completely agree with her about picking your songs and picking songs that mean something to you or that you know will mean something to the audience. And it's not just picking the song and singing it. It's picking the song and interpreting it, because that's what we do. We are the interpreters of the lyric. And our job is to connect with you in your heart, in your brain, that it evokes a memory or it evokes a feeling in the lyrics, in your delivery of the song that connects with the audience. And so that's our job. That's what our job is to find the songs and interpret the lyrics and make the audience understand what those lyrics mean.
That is just so beautiful. I got goosebumps as you were talking. And I was really hearing you say when you first heard that song, Don't Say a Word, it's like you were seized by it. It's not even choice. It's like, it just like, boom.
But, and like I said, when she did the little shush on the end, I about lost my mind. It was like, oh my God, this song is so beautiful. And it's so meaningful.
And then you were talking about like interpreting the song. It's more than just like interpreting it. It's like you're transmitting a state of being, like you want the audience to deeply feel what that is to be with someone that you deeply love, like that. It's like a transmission that you're giving us.
Yes. And like I said, evoking a memory. One of my favorite songs to do is I've grown accustomed to his face. It was written as I've grown accustomed to her face from My Fair Lady, but I sing, of course, sing I've grown accustomed to his face. And whenever I do this song, I'm looking out at the audience, and singing it, and like I said, interpreting the lyrics. And I'll look around and I'll look at an old couple, and you can see the memories on their face. And all of a sudden, and it's not like they're consciously doing it, he will reach over and he'll start touching her hair. And she will kind of reach over and start rubbing his other hand. And you're like, that right there. They feel it. And growing accustomed to each other's faces, that's what they are doing. They're feeling that moment. And I've now done my job.
That is just incredible that you, as a performer, while you're holding everything you're doing as a singer, is also so attuned and could even pick up on that, like, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
in your audience. That's so beautiful. Like, it's like a bi-directional giving of love. That's like you're giving them and they're giving it back to you.
Yes. Yes. So that's what all these songs and lyrics mean to me. You don't just put the words out there. You can't. You can't just you just sing it and spill out the words. Even if it's a swing tune, for me on a swing tune, it's meaning of the song, but also making my voice an instrument with the band where we are all swinging and making you sway, making your head bop or your toe tap. Um, we're all doing that together, not just the band, but me as the vocalist too. I'm in tune to what they are doing, and they're in tune to what I am doing. And we're just call and response, answering each other, hanging with each other. I hear what the drummer's doing. I hang with him for a little bit. I hear what the bass player's doing. Hang with him for a little bit in my phrasing. So it doesn't just have to be a ballad. It's in everything we're presenting.
just being really connected to one another. And
Yes. And then through us, we're connecting with the audience. We're bringing them along for the ride.
and there's a genuine like energy that gets transmitted that can't be forced is really what you're saying. It's like
Yes.
it's there or it's not there.
We're having fun, and consequently, you're having fun. We're bringing you into what we're doing. We're bringing you into where it's just a whole community connection. It's us and you in the audience, and we're all connected in that moment for that song.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. On on Jazz Therapy, we love to just talk with passionate individuals who are on their path of individuation, which was Carl Jung's word for becoming authentically who we are. And I'm just so curious about your calling to become a jazz singer, just what that evolution in your life looked like. It's such a unique and beautiful path. And I'm just so curious about how this destiny called to you.
So mine is a very funny little story. So I grew up as a Catholic girl. So I didn't grow up like musically in the church. If you're Catholic, and anyone in the audience who's Catholic, you know how it goes. we, we sing the songs, the choir's up there, we sing the songs with them. And, in the 70s, they started doing folk masses. So there was the folk choir. I think I was in the folk choir for a couple of years. So nothing as dramatic as, say, the Baptist church or something like that. So I had no idea I could sing. I was in the folk choir. I would sing along with the radio, thought I sounded terrible. And then my last 2 years in the Air Force, I was tasked with putting our Christmas party together in my squadron. I worked in the hospital. And I was a dancer, doing a little chorus line dance with some of the other girls in the squadron. But I got some music minus voice tapes for other people that were singers. And just for giggles, I got a Billie Holiday tape. So someone said that I should sing at the Christmas party. And I practiced, and I got up in front of 300 people at the party, and I did these two Billie Holiday songs, and they liked it. I was 37 years old. I had no idea. And so I did that. People liked it. I'm like, okay, all right, this was fun. And the next year, my last year in the Air Force, I was 38 then, and I did it again. Did the very thought of you, um, to a recording of that of Nat King Cole's. So I did that, and I was retiring from the Air Force then, and just a little germ of an idea of this could be probably fun. And so when I retired and moved to Roseville, I went to a little music store, and my kids were taking music lessons, guitar and violin. And I just started looking at all those tapes, and I started picking them very, very carefully. This Frank Sinatra tape, this Nancy Wilson tape. And I just had this whole collection of tapes. And my boyfriend at the time, who later became my husband, would take me to the karaoke places. Carlos Murphy's over on Arden Way had karaoke, and I would take my own tapes, and I would sing karaoke things, and that's how I got started. And from there, I made a demo and went to a little place on 21st and L with my demo, and I had some sound equipment too, and they hired me. So for about a year, I was there every weekend with my little tapes, checking them out and everything. And I would do a one-woman show with these background tapes. And I did that for, about 3 or 4 years there. And then I went to a place down in Old Sac, and I was there every other weekend. And from there, I met a musician who came in. Someone said, "You ought to go listen to this lady." So I met this older gentleman, was a bass player. We talked, we formed a band, and he taught me a lot of things about music. And we did some gigs together and then parted ways. And I put my first band together on my own. And just from that point on, I was meeting musicians. They were agreeing to play with me. They were mentoring me, giving me ideas and pointers. Jim Martinez taught me how to put my package together to give to places. And so over these 28 years, I've had so many wonderful mentors in the instrumentalists out there. And I just kept year to year to year honing my craft and honing myself and learning and growing until this is where I am. And I hopefully I will continue to grow. I've been doing this now for 28 years, and I will continue to grow as a musician, as a vocalist, and hopefully have many more years to come. I mean, I'm 71 now. Hopefully I do this for another 20 years or so, and just keep growing.
Well, you look and sound amazing. I'm like stunned that you had a whole nother career and in the Air Force. So you're a veteran on top of being a jazz singer.
Yeah,
That is just, that's amazing. And I'm curious about what your time in the military also taught you and maybe helped you in your career in the music business, which is a notoriously challenging business. Like this was like your second act, and it's like become so like another whole life.
it is. It has been another whole life. And then on top of that, for the 30 years after retiring from the military, I was doing the same job, but as a civilian. So I've had these 3 little iterations of my life. Um, well, just being military, being a military child, my dad was in as well. Uh, just that discipline, that self-reliance. I'm one of those people. I can enjoy my own company. I don't have to be in a crowd of people all the time. I can enjoy my own company and my own solitude in working on things, on working on my songs, in writing my charts and things. I can spend that time here in my home doing that, and I don't feel like, oh my God, I've got to get out of this house. I'm kind of insular. I'm what I call an introverted extrovert, because when I am on my own, I'm very, very comfortable in my own skin. But once I am on stage and out, I'm a bit of an extrovert. So I go back and forth in that part of my personality. When I'm out, I can be very social, but
Yeah.
I don't mind being in.
Well, I wonder if maybe you're saying like also that quiet time is deeply important to your creative process, just having the time to reflect, like create, work on your music,
Discover,
discover.
um, work on them. I hear the music in my head, and um, I work the way I want it to go out in in my shower and in my house. Even when I was working, I would I was an operating room technician. I'm the person who gave the doctor the instruments during surgery, standing there. So before the patient would come in the room, I would be in the room by myself. Nurses out there checking in the patient, anesthesia, the surgeons, they're not in the room because the patient's not in the room. So I would sing. I would work out, learn the lyrics. If I was just learning a new song, play with the lyrics. I would work out how I wanted it to go in my head, counting it off and singing. But the minute that the door opened up, I was that was done. I wasn't one of those people that is always singing when people are around and stuff. I would spend that time by myself working the songs out and then just shut it down when everybody would come in the room.
I bet
So
that
I
was, yeah, beautiful energy you were also like emitting into the OR. too, as you're just even doing that in your mind.
Yeah. But yeah, so I spend a lot of time doing that, working out the arrangements. And then when I get with the guys, I tell them what I want to do. We work it out.
It's so fascinating that right as your career in the military was ending, kind of your career in jazz spontaneously like opened up. Like you had this party and then like it's like it just happened.
It did do that. I morphed from one thing into this other part while still keeping my career as an operating room technician, but then morphing into this other person that I had no idea that I would do this in my life. Had no idea that I would do this. It sort of fell into my lap.
It was meant to be for you to be a singer, a jazz singer, as well as an operating room technician, a veteran. Like that's just so fascinating. I wonder if
I've seen life.
yes, well, and all of that is in your music. Like we can hear just the richness that you pour into your song, into your art. I wonder if you could talk to us about what spirituality is for you, what that looks like, and how you connect to that.
I grew up Catholic.
Hmm.
I don't necessarily go to mass all the time, but I live my life that way. That's enmeshed in me. The lessons I learned as a child growing up in that religion. And so I I live my life in that way, being kind to people, being generous to people with myself. Um, and just putting that kind of energy out of me into the world to show kindness and show empathy. And I feel like the aura around me is welcoming to people. Um, it's funny. As you can see, my hair is, I have my hair in braids with extensions, and I've done that off and on for about 15 years. My hair was very short, but before then, I would, I would have it in braids. And there are people that you feel like you can approach, and then there are people that you feel like, oh yeah, no, I'm not going to say anything to them. And um, I feel like I'm an approachable person. I remember one day being in the DMV, and there was a couple. There was a couple behind me, and I could hear her talking to him and her saying, and so I just I could hear them. I turned around and I said, "What is it that you'd like to know that you'd like to ask me?" We wanted to know about your braids. And so I just explained about my braids and getting them done and that they were extensions and it was braided into my hair. And they were like, well, thank you. We always kind of wanted to know, but we didn't want to offend anybody by asking them. you know? So I feel like I am an approachable person. The aura around me says that you can ask me and you can ask me anything. And if it's not an offensive thing that you're asking me, I will answer it for you.
That's so true what you talk about, like that we can unconsciously pick up on people's energies. And I think something like 90% of communication is nonverbal,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like I see that all the time, like
It's
with my
aura.
clients, as if, yes, it's
It's
like,
aura that's around you that says
mhm,
they're approachable, and yeah, yeah.
I love that. How do you get through difficult and hard moments in your life? Be they, if you feel irked or triggered or just even, hard patches of life that come at us.
Well, I've just experienced over the last year the hardest thing of my life, and that was losing my partner. Um, and For me, it's the memories of him and the memories of our life. I had something that I was really, really, really looking forward to. I've waited for over a year. Well, not over a year, 11 months. And that is that I took some of his ashes and sent them to a company that was able to grow a diamond from his ashes. And so now I have a ring that is made from his ashes. And so that was something that kept me going and had me looking forward to, because then I knew that a part of him would always be with me, not just in my heart, but with me in the diamond that I would get. And so there's that. Um, my music gets me through things. Listening to music or having shows has gets me through things if I'm feeling kind of down or blue. My children, my grandchildren, my great granddaughter who you met on she was the lemonade girl.
She's adorable.
So my family gets me through things and helps me through the difficult times. Just knowing that I have them gets me through things. And just that, what is that saying? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. that that little mantra, it does work wonders, because it is true. It is true. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You get a resilience, and you know that you can get through the next day.
Oh, I love that. And your story also about your husband's passing, and then like the suffering out being made into a diamond. Like it's such a beautiful metaphor for like the pain of grief and loss, and then like a beautiful shiny diamond to a memory to wear around. It's like symbolizes your love and connection.
Exactly. Exactly. So I was definitely looking forward to getting that. And I did get it a week ago. So
I think I also heard too in that answer just continuing to grow and develop. Like you mentioned your music and wanting to continue it to evolve, and your family, like just continuing to have fullness and just things to look forward to that help you get through like these challenging times when they come up.
yes.
I wonder if you could talk to us about some of your biggest musical inspirations. We heard about Billie Holiday, and there's also a link to Carmen McRae, whose music we're going to listen to later. Just in your personal evolution and your own favorite, I'm curious about your biggest musical influences.
Everyone. Um, Frank Sinatra with his phrasing and the swinging hip songs. Tony Bennett. Um, when I first was starting out, um, I want to be a jazz singer, and there were so many people that would say, "Well, you need to do a lot of different things if you're going to be an entertainer. You're an entertainer." No, I'm a jazz singer. An entertainer. And I read something about Tony Bennett, and he was signed to Columbia Records. And, he had been around for a while. And then the Beatles hit. And the Beatles were, the it thing. And Columbia Records, we're going to have you do an album of Beatles covers. And he's like, I don't want to do that. Well, boo, you're under contract, so you're gonna. So did it, hated it, and walked away. And then in the 80s, no, the 90s, early 90s, his son, who was managing him by then, um, got him to do NTV Unplugged. And he himself the music that he does. And a whole new audience met him and loved him. And he came back. He had a resurgence until the end of his life, you know? And that with me, with the people telling me I had to do a variety of things, reading about him and him standing on his own principles, doing what they made him do because he was signed to them, and then walking away saying, "This is not me. I'm not going to do this again." And he walked away and didn't do anything for many, many years until his son got him to do MTV Unplugged. And I'm like, that's me. This is who I am. This is who I am. I am a jazz singer. And I will sing jazz. I might take some other songs and move them over into the jazz arena, but I'm not going to do R&B. I'm not going to do blues. I'm not going to do rock. I am going to do jazz.
This is like the second moment you've already given me goosebumps, Vivian. Like, that is such a beautiful, profound truth of like knowing that you need to march to the beat of your own drum, even in the face of external pressures, just like following that deep inner guidance and voice, and how hard that is to actually do. That's so beautiful.
But that was a defining moment for me when I read that's what he did. And it's like, yeah, that right there, that's me.
Yeah, that confirmed for you just to continue on your path and not have to do or perform or sing in a way that didn't resonate with you.
Or just say, thank you for your input, and just keep on pushing. Just be me, do me.
Yeah. Well, before we go to the music, I am curious just about how you care for yourself emotionally, physically, and spiritually. You mentioned being an instrument, your voice is an instrument, which for jazz singers, absolutely it is. And just what that looks like for you as a performer.
What does what look for me?
Just caring for yourself kind of emotionally, spiritually, physically, so that you are, your best instrument.
Physically, I do go to the gym. For me, a lot of times it's been, how we all are. We start and you stop and start again next year and you stop. I'm trying to be consistent with it because I am older, and I go to the gym like 3 days a week with my youngest daughter. She's pretty physically fit. She works my butt off. She really does. And I will be honest, I am vain. I am vain. I want to look good for as long as I can. And because I do love to wear my gowns, I do love to wear my evening gowns a lot of times when I'm performing at night, and I want to look fabulous in them. So I work out so that I can continue to look fabulous. Um, and we already talked about my spiritual side in in that. And just in moving on in my music, finding new music, finding songs that connect with me, that I like, and say, I'm going to experiment with this now. And I'm constantly looking for songs. I have 350 songs in my repertoire. Some of the charts yes. And I work hard on knowing my lyrics. I strive to not ever have a lyric sheet in front of me on my music stand. My music stand is to have my set list on off to the side, big enough where I can see it, but not to have the lyrics. I try not to do any song until those lyrics are in here. Once they're in here, then I will do it. but I do not want to have lyric sheets. Now, that's not to say that sometimes I don't forget lyrics, and that's why lyrics are on my sheet music. So if in that first run around the song, I've forgotten something, it slipped my mind, then I'll go and I'll stand by the piano player. Just like, it looks like I'm just kind of chatting with them, watching him play. Well, actually, what I'm doing is looking at the lyrics. Oh, yeah. And then I go on. So to the audience, that's my little secret sometimes if I forget something. But I'm just always trying to grow, trying to just keep pushing forward and striving um, to improve, to be better, to um, take on new things, take on new songs, um, new arrangements, try to arrange things and, with my band and just doing that. Yeah.
I hear that, just really staying open. So, but the synchronicities and inspiration the universe can bring you. And when I saw you perform recently, you talked about how when you were in Michigan, like in the parking lot at Walmart, and you heard a version of The Shadow of Your Smile, and then you were like, yes, I'm going to do this song and I want to do it up tempo. Just what a random moment to be, hit with an inspiration, like the most ordinary thing. And there it is.
That is exactly what happened. I was just in the car driving and it came on and I'm like, oh my God, this swings. And I started singing kind of with it. And then I had to finish listening to it and I just pulled up into that Walmart parking lot and just sat there, and then immediately wrote to Brendan and said, listen to this. Can we do this? And he's like, oh yeah. It's the same thing with Take the A Train. The Take the A Train is usually a swinging tune. And I heard Ray Brown, he slowed it down and bluesed it up. And I was like, okay, I like that. So the next time I was with the guys, I was like, yo, we're going to slow this one down a little bit, blues it up. Can y'all do that? They're like, yeah, we'll do it. And that's what we did. And it was like, oh my goodness, yes, this is fun. And and a lot of times the inspiration for me for how I will do a song comes from hearing someone else do it instrumentally. And I'm like, well, I can sing it like that. I get a lot of inspiration from instrumentalists in listening to how they've done a song.
That's fascinating. Well, so that's another lesson we'll take away from today is just always be aware that inspiration can come from anywhere. Just be open to it.
Can absolutely come from anywhere. It absolutely can. Just in hearing a song, hearing, even a pop tune that your brain goes, I could shift this over into jazz, I think. And so you do.
Just be open.
And figure out how you guys could.
Well, I love that. And we're going to listen to some Carmen McRae music.
Okay. All right.
Are you ready for some Carmen McRae? I'm so glad that you suggested her. I wanted to just read a little bio of her, and this is from the National Endowment of the Arts website. She's an NEA jazz master, born April 8th, 1920, died November 10th, 1994. Tender and warm with a ballad, Carmen McRae was one of the great singers of jazz, finding the depth of feeling in the lyrics of the songs she interpreted. An accomplished pianist who in her early career accompanied herself, she occasionally returned to the piano later in her career. McRae learned piano through private lessons and was discovered by Irene Wilson Kitchings, a musician and former wife of pianist Teddy Wilson. McRae sang with the Benny Carter, Count Basie, and Mercer Ellington big bands during the 1940s and made her recorded debut as Carmen Clark while the wife of drummer Kenny Clark. During the bebop revolution at Minton's Playhouse, McRae was an intermission pianist. At the Playhouse is likely where she first heard Thelonious Monk's music, which influenced her piano playing and musical sense. In the early 1950s, she worked with the Matt Matthews Quintet. She signed her first significant recording contract with Decca in 1954. Working as a soloist, she gained wide recognition and was often seen in the pantheon of jazz singers that included Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan, whom she idolized and later paid homage on a recording. Her greatest idol was Billie Holiday, whom she feted on record and in performance on many occasions. Although she admired these singers, she never resorted to sheer mimicry and developed her own original style. She recorded notably alongside Louis Armstrong on Dave Brubeck's extended work, The Real Ambassadors, a social commentary written with his wife, Iola. She made several film and television appearances and performed as an actress in the landmark television series Roots. In the late 1980s, she returned to her first love, recording a full album of Monk's music with lyrics by Jon Hendricks, Abbey Lincoln, Mike Farrow, Sally Swisher, and Bernie Hannigan. The album became one of her signature recordings. McRae performed many times at the Monterey Jazz Festival, the North Sea Jazz Festival in the Netherlands, and the Montreal Jazz Festival in Switzerland, where she shared the stage with Dizzy Gillespie and Phil Woods. She was forced to retire for health reasons in 1991. So that is a little bit about her incredible story career. And we are now going to hear our first song by Carmen. And this song is from the beginning of her career. She also performed at the Newport Jazz Festival for many years. And this is a song called Perdido. And it was recorded in 1957 at the Newport Jazz Festival. So if you're listening along with us, pause and go listen to the song with us, and then we'll come back and talk about it. The Carmen McRae at the 1957 Newport, Rhode Island Jazz Festival. Vivian, what was it like to hear this song? Just thoughts, feelings, emotions, reflections. And Carmen was 37 when she recorded this piece of music.
It swings. That's number one. It's the thing about Carmen that I love, and I don't try to emulate it, but I feel it in my own music when I'm with my live band. She, if you notice, a lot of times in her phrasing, she's not on the note. She's either in front of it or she's behind it. She gives that space, which gives it that extra little bounce. And that's what makes her so fun and unique, is that she doesn't just on the 3, on the 4, on the 1, it'll be 1. So she's here hitting, and then here's 1. Or it's 1 and then she hits after with her words. And that's what makes it gives it that bop. And if you listen to instrumentalists, that's what they do. They aren't playing like necessarily right on the note, especially on their solos. They will give some license and give some space. And that's what's the cool thing about her. And that she goes to weird notes in the chord at the end. She doesn't, okay, here's the note, and she'll do something else different that fits in, but it's not that note. And which makes the end of the song very interesting. She did that on this. She gave it wasn't the usual note that she sang at the end. She went off in a different little direction that fit in with the chord, but it wasn't that note. And that's the thing about her.
For her to be able to do that, I imagine it's like years of practicing and singing to be able to be that free with the music.
She's a piano player. Play piano. I can plunk around enough to figure out my key, but I don't play piano. Mine comes strictly from listening to them. But hers is kind of ingrained because she is a piano player. And so she knows what she can do and work around to make the song interesting.
And Perdido means lost in Spanish. And she just gives this ebullient, bursting with joy feeling of being like lost in the joy of love, of just like that feeling of like, yes, the joie de vivre of being alive. Like that was just magnificent.
I'll skip around if so I recognize something when I get around the corner, cool. But if not, it's okay. I'm lost, but that's kind of all right.
Yeah. Yeah, just that insouciance. I love that. Well, our next song is going to be fast forward in time about 30 years later. We're going to hear her perform Round Midnight at the Montreal, I believe it's a jazz festival in 1988. We're going to hear her talk a little bit about her inspiration and her love of Monk, because she made this album in the 80s and it was absolutely super amazing. Okay, let's go here.
Round midnight, I do pretty well.
Well, simply stunning. We just heard Round Midnight perform live in Montreal. Carmen McRae, Vivian, what was that like to hear?
Different. The first lyrics that she did, I guess that was the other gentleman that she was real keen on his lyrics, because I think the second set of lyrics came back in, that was Hendrix. I have never heard those. Well, I take that back. I've heard little snippets of it because I've heard the phrase about the nickels and dimes. But that whole set of lyrics, I have never heard. I have recorded and have sung the first set of lyrics. It begins to tell around midnight. And I'll have to look that up to see if that is John Hendricks, because I don't think it is.
That must have been the Bernie Hannigan.
Yeah, she said she was going to do his first and then Hendrix second. So the Hendrix lyrics I had never heard. I sung the other guy's lyrics, and most everybody else has too. Has sung the other set of lyrics, and I always had thought that that was the standard lyric. I did not know about the other lyrics at all, but it was her. Oh my God, her phrasing, and her emphasis on words and feelings. She, yeah, just
Life's a game of chance, and you are one of the minor players.
yes. Now those are the Hendrix lyrics.
Okay, those are the Hendrix lyrics.
That one isn't. That one wasn't in the other lyrics that most everyone sings, but just her emotion. That is the thing that makes her stand out. Not taking away from anybody else, because everyone was wonderful. She did not gain the fame of Sarah and Billie and Ella Fitzgerald. She did not gain the fame, but we all know who she is, and we all know her. But she didn't get, I don't want to say status, because she has that status, but the fame and I guess riches of the other ones, she did not gain that. But she's in a place all by herself in her phrasing and her delivery of songs. Her delivery of the lyrics is completely different from, she's telling the story. Everyone else, they sang and I love Billie Holiday. I love them all. They are my mentors. Though they did not know me, they are my mentors. But Carmen McRae stands out in her interpretation. She interprets the lyrics. The other ones, they sang beautifully, delivered beautifully. Ella scatting, you know, Sarah Vaughan's delivery, the pain that you heard in Billie Holiday, and the life, just the rough life lessons that are in her music. We hear that, but Carmen has a delivery that's an instrument. I guess that's the word, the word I'm looking for, because her voice is like an instrument, like a sax or a trumpet or a piano, even in the way a piano will phrase. She's in a whole different place than the others. That's Everybody had their place, and that is her unique space, is her phrasing and her lyrical interpretation. That is her space.
We heard her several times in that piece use her voice to just really like communicate. And when I heard the song, I think she helped me understand it in a much deeper level because she gets across like what it is like when we have these quiet moments by ourselves and we're thinking about maybe things we did during the day that were not great. Like we're having this like internal review and sometimes how there's like pain and sadness with that. And then ultimately she's like, all right, well, like you have to release it and let it go because like tomorrow's another, like, it's like she's like giving, like she was like ministering to us. Like I was like, wow, like it was beautiful.
She's talking about, it's midnight and I'm here by myself and we had a fight. I'm hoping that this isn't over. And, yes, yeah.
And how do I still just go on? Because I also can't stay here. She's like, another day's like, I have to move on. And yet it's like all this internal processing, like
And
so
and
rich.
cross with the way she phrases and the way she sings and interprets the song. And that's what I mean about her being this is her space. Ella's is her swing and her scat. Billie Holiday's is in that raw emotion of the hard life that she had. Sarah Vaughan is in a whole different place as well. Carmen is in this space that interprets the lyrics. I keep saying that, and I hope I'm not boring people when I say that, but she does. She interprets the lyrics and and puts out that emotion that a saxophone does. You know how sexy a saxophone is when you're listening to someone playing. It's got that tone that just hits inside your heart, whether it be alto or tenor. The soprano is a little bit more light, but the alto and the tenor sax, that emotion that you feel when they hit this note or they scoop into a phrase that just hits you in your heart. That's what Carmen does in her delivery when you're listening to her sing.
This is the third time I've had goosebumps when you're speaking again, Vivian. This is just, I love that. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like when you listen to the sax. Like it hits you so deep.
Yeah, and her voice
does that too.
Her lyrical delivery does that same thing. The way she spaces and pauses and then comes back in with almost with a growl or with an extra amount of pain. She makes you feel the song.
And she helped me understand this song in a completely new way. All right. Well, we're going to stay in 1988. She was also just outperforming everywhere, which was incredible. Since she mentioned that Billie Holiday was such a big idol of hers, we're going to go to a concert she did in 1988 with Dizzy Gillespie. However, this is just her on piano, and it is a Billie Holiday tune, Reaching for the Stars. All right, so we heard Reaching for the Moon. I said Reaching for the Stars, but Reaching for the Moon.
That's a new one for me. I'll have to hunt that one down. I like it. I like the lyrics. I have to hunt that one down because I do a Billie Holiday tribute. I have a show, and I'm gonna have to hunt that one down because I like that song. That's nice.
We would love to hear you sing that.
That's a beautiful song, and it's done Carmen's way. Everything's spaced out to stretch out the meaning. You know, I can hear in my mind Billie Holiday doing it, but it wouldn't be as stretched out as this is. And it lets you hang on every word and picture the song. Picture what someone lamenting that, trying to get next to you is like reaching for the moon, you know? Yeah.
There's such a beautiful feeling of yearning that she conveys in this song. Like it's not like a desperate tragic yearning. It's just like so beautiful, open and earnest. And she kind of leaves you hanging because it's like the story is finished. You don't know, like, is it maybe going to happen? She doesn't sing it in a way where it's like it's done, it's never going to happen. It's like she leaves you with like this question of like, okay, like, and I think we can all relate to that deep yearning for, it could be something, a partner, an experience, just like wanting something so much and just being like, God, here I am. I'm asking for it, and the future is not writ.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very poignant. You can see someone sitting and thinking and contemplating and just saying to themselves, damn, it's like trying to get him to notice me is like reaching for the moon. He's he's never gonna see me. How long am I gonna wait? Kind of thing. It's kind of like getting to that first thought where it hits you. It's like reaching for the moon. I, you know, and then maybe your next thought is, I'm not going to wait around for this. I'm just going to move on. That might be your next thought after saying it's like reaching for the moon. I don't know if it's worth it. That could be the next thought. She, like you said, she leaves you kind of hanging. What's the next thing? Does she attain that, or does she just go, you know what? He's had all that in a big bag of chips. I think I'm gonna move on.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I really feel like I have gotten from Carmen McRae this deep transmission as I was writing to you about like just the power of intentionality. And you really started off when you were associating to that quote at the beginning of like being open to inspiration and like really being seized by something and knowing it deeply. Like, okay, this is the song I have to sing. And just like the power of intention, I feel like is the deep lesson, one of them that I have received from doing this deep dive with you and also with Carmen McRae today.
Okay, then I have done my job. And that's what I say when I do a show. If I have brought joy into you when you hear some of the songs that I do that are swing, if I brought a memory to you, um, in a ballad, I know you were there at the show on the 9th, and I I said that there were several of us there in the audience who were in a unique club that we did not ask to be in. We did not really want to be in this club, but we are. But that we had a message for you, for those of you in the audience who are with someone, who have someone in your life. And the song was called Just Remember. And so in that song, even if I made you think, you know, that little argument we had last weekend, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. We're going to have these moments and and even thinking on the way home, when I got real snarky with you yesterday, I'm sorry. I didn't. If I made you think, then I have done my job. That's what my job is in my show, is to connect with you on some kind of level in each of the songs that I sing, to make you happy, to make you sit in your chair and dance on a bossa nova, or to make you create some kind of a memory for you in a ballad that you go, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember feeling that. Oh, I remember that dance at my prom or whatever. Then I've done my job. And I always say that if I have connected with you in some way, then I have done my job, which is what my job is from up on stage.
That's beautiful. What's your transmission and the energy that you're giving, the love that is pouring through you? It's so evident, and it's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I definitely got that. And it's just been an honor to hear you as a performer talk about and just kind of get a sense of what it's like, all that you're holding when you are performing, your attunement to the band, to the audience, just, like really wanting to give something to everybody. It's a lot. It's a lot as a performer that you hold.
And I love it. I love every minute of it.
Well, I wanted to just leave us with two final Billie Holiday quotes. I'll ask you just, of course, to share your thoughts. Carmen McRae quote. I was thinking of Billie because she's Carmen's inspiration. And then we will sign off. This is the first one. Oscar Peterson is my favorite all-around pianist. There are pianists I like because of one thing and pianists I like because of another. But overall, I like Oscar Peterson best. That's the first one. The second one, blues is to jazz what yeast is to bread. Without it, it's flat. Carmen McRae.
Okay.
So just with those quotes, I wondered just what comes to mind. And also, I was curious if you had a favorite pianist. I don't think I covered that earlier in the show.
Well, I have to say, in my life, my favorite pianist is Brendan Lowe, the guy who plays piano for me. He knows me inside and out as a vocalist. He comes up with so many wonderful ideas, sometimes right on the spot, what he does, and what he plays for me. And so here locally, my favorite pianist is Brendan. My second favorite, because of what he brings to the table and does, is Joe Gilman. He's the same way. Okay, so Brendan knows me and that he does these things that are just the right thing to do. When I count off a tune. Joe Gilman challenges me because the things that come out of his head, the rhythmic things, I count a song off and the rhythmic things that he does, and he just will come up with something that's really, unique, but it's not necessarily in time or a melody, the melody of the song. I have to say to myself, as he's doing these things, you know the song. You know the song. Let him just have some fun, and you just sing the song. And and so,
Unexpected with
yeah, oh,
him.
it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And so these two guys are my two favorite pianists. One that knows me so well that he just does these things that are so wonderful. In a ballad, I just look at him and say, "Give me something pretty in a ballad," and he knows exactly what to do. Joe, he challenges me to know my song and know where I can go in the song, and I just let him have his fun. So those two people are my absolute favorite pianists.
I love that. Well, thank you for that.
And then the second thing, what was that?
Oh, blues is to jazz what yeast is to bread. Without it, it's flat. So just like the importance of the blues to jazz.
Ye- yes, because a lot of elements of jazz are are blues. Um and you can do a jazz tune in a bluesy feel that lets you just get down and dirty and sexy when you bring the lyrics. So, yes. Yes, that to some degree is absolutely true. When you decide that you want to do something a little different with a song, like they can't take that away. You just go, give me something blues, and you can just get down and dirty with that song. And then when they do, the way you're able to deliver the lyrics is just like very, very, very sexy. Yeah.
I love
So
that.
I agree with that statement.
Hmm.
Yes.
Well, Vivian, it's just been a delight to have you on. And I feel like you really made the point of what I'm trying to do with this show, like just living out your destiny, having like three careers and becoming a jazz singer. Like it just happened. It was just meant to be in your path. And then also just, talking about how like you're giving, you're transmitting to the audience, to people with your music and your art. And that's also my point with the show, that jazz is therapeutic in and of itself. Like I'm a psychotherapist, but like the therapeutic part on this show is the music. Like the music is so beautiful and it moves us, it inspires us. Like it's like our life. Like I couldn't live without jazz. So
It can set a mood. It can set a mood when you're listening to it, or it can bring a memory. You hear a song and flashes of your life. I There are different songs that I hear. Some of them are jazz, but some of them are, I don't want to call it new age. There's a pianist named Kevin Kern, and he there's a song that rolled up on my Pandora when I was listening to it, doing some housework, and this song just touched me, and snatches of my life with Paul, just little scenes of our life together, going to the Detroit Grand Prix, going to this place, doing this. All of these things just played out, sitting in our backyard having a glass of wine. All of those little parts of our life just played out in my mind while this song was on. And so that's what jazz will do too. And any music that you love, it can bring back some wonderful memories to you that give you some comfort.
and it's not just, it's like your experience is elevated. It's like it's mirrored, it's reflected, it's
Yes,
elevated and made into this beautiful art form. So thank you for making that point.
you're welcome.
All right. Well, truly an honor. Thank you again
Oh, thanks for having me.
so
It's
much.
been fun chatting with you and listening to music and stuff. Thank you very
It
much.
has been. And everyone, get out and hear Vivian perform when you can. Do you have an upcoming performance?
Um, my next two are private gigs, but then I have two in November. November 16th, I will be at Twin Lotus Thai, the Thai restaurant that Joe Gilman and his wife own. I with Beth Duncan and Carolyn Swayze, a vocalist who used to live here, who now lives in Georgia. We are going to be doing the music of Johnny Mercer, and at Twin Lotus. And then on the 22nd of November, I will be doing kind of an early holiday show at the Side Door down in Curtis Park.
Oh, wonderful. I'll put links to those as well for everybody to come out. So turn out to see Vivian sing.
Thank you for listening, reflecting, and being present with us today. Please leave us a review and comment. Jazz Therapy is edited and produced by Patricio Garcia. Sage Salmon is our social media coordinator. To connect with us, find us on Instagram and TikTok. Our email is info@jazztherapy.com. Check back next week for our next episode. May Jazz Therapy soothe your soul.